I want you to picture a scenario for a second. Just put yourself in this situation. You are driving your electric vehicle right through the heart of Atlanta's I-285 highway.
Oh, that is notoriously sprawling.
Right. And it's peak rush hour. You glance down at your phone, and the battery is hovering right around like 12%.
So you're already feeling that familiar digital anxiety.
Exactly, that low-level hum of panic.
Hmm?
And outside your window, cars and massive 18-wheelers are just flying by you at what feels like 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And then the unthinkable happens. Your EV battery gauge, which you swore just had 10 miles left on it, suddenly hits absolutely 0%.
Oh, wow. That is a nightmare.
The dashboard lights up with a cascade of warnings, the accelerator goes completely numb, and the car just slowly, inevitably loses power. You manage to muscle it over onto this narrow, terrifying sliver of the shoulder.
Right.
Panic sets in. What is your actual next move in that situation?
I mean, it's a genuinely terrifying thought. And honestly, it's a situation that is playing out more and more often across the country right now.
Because there are just so many EVs on the road now.
Yeah, the transition is accelerating super fast, but the physical infrastructure, like the actual charging network,
Right.
it just hasn't kept pace with the sheer number of vehicles rolling off dealer lots.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the way I see it, range anxiety in an electric vehicle is exactly like having your smartphone die in the middle of a busy workday. Except in this case, the only charger available to you is bolted to a brick wall 3 towns over.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
It's this fundamental, deeply unsettling feeling of being completely untethered from the grid. And that stressful roadside reality is basically the launch pad for today's deep dive.
Right, into mobile EV charging.
Exactly. We are exploring this completely fascinating, rapidly expanding world. Our sources on the table today include the official service and technical blueprints for a local company called Atlanta Mobile EV Charging.
Which is super detailed stuff.
It is, along with the deeply insightful transcript from the E-Rescue podcast, which actually breaks down their recent expansion into the Atlanta market. Our mission today isn't just to review a local roadside service, though. It is to examine exactly how decentralized mobile networks are stepping in to bridge the massive, glaring infrastructure gaps in our current EV landscape.
And those gaps are very real, especially when you look at how charging stations are actually distributed.
What do you mean?
Well, you think of a major city and you just automatically assume, oh, I'm covered. But the physical geography tells a very different story. Take Atlanta, for example.
Right.
It is a massive, sprawling metro area. It covers a 45-mile radius from downtown, including all these satellite cities like Marietta, Conyers, and Douglasville.
So it's huge.
Right, it's huge.
Right.
And yes, there are charging stations, but they are incredibly concentrated in very specific commercial hubs.
Gotcha.
So if you happen to be out in Conyers, or you're just on a long, dark stretch of a bypass that isn't, immediately adjacent to one of those hubs your battery gives out, you are entirely out of luck.
Which immediately brings up the economics and really the sheer logistical nightmare of being stranded. Because my first thought, and I think most people's first instinct is just, well, my car died, I'll just call a tow truck.
Right, of course.
That is the mental model we all have from driving gas-powered cars for a century.
Oh.
But when you look at the physical and financial reality outlined in our sources, why can't we just treat a dead EV the way we treat a dead Honda Civic?
Because an electric vehicle is just a completely different mechanical beast. The traditional towing model is, quite frankly, a total nightmare for an EV.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Let's break down the physical reality of calling a standard tow truck for a dead battery in Atlanta. First off, you have the mechanical risk.
Okay.
You cannot just hook up the standard tow chain and drag an EV down the highway.
Hmm.
The wheels are physically connected to the electric motors.
Oh, right, because there's no real new...
Exactly. Many of these cars don't have a true mechanical neutral when the battery is completely dead. So if you drag it, the regenerative braking system can overheat, and you can literally destroy the motors or even cause a battery fire.
Wow. So you absolutely need a flatbed truck.
You have to have a flatbed.
Yeah.
And the operator often have to use these specialized wheel skates to physically slide your heavy, dead car onto the ramp.
Without spinning the tires.
Right. And if the tow operator isn't highly experienced with EVs, the risk of damaging the undercarriage is massive. And that is exactly where your extremely expensive, volatile battery pack lives.
And beyond the mechanical risk, the timeline and the cost are just completely broken.
Totally broken.
I mean, you are sitting on the side of that terrifying highway for anywhere from 1 to 3 hours just waiting for that specialized flatbed to even show up.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
And you are paying somewhere between $150 to over $400 just for the tow itself.
And that doesn't even fix the problem.
Exactly. You are paying $400 just to have your car moved.
Right. And finally, after all that waiting and paying and stressing out, the tow truck just unloads you at a public charging station.
Where you still have to swipe your credit card to pay for electricity.
Yes. And you still have to sit there in a dark parking lot and wait another hour for the battery to actually fill up.
It's literally adding insult to injury.
Yeah.
You pay $400 just to be dropped off in a waiting room.
Pretty much.
So contrast that with the mobile charging alternative that our sources lay out. Instead of dragging the heavy car to the station, these services bring the station directly to the car.
Which is such a simple concept, but so effective.
And looking at the source material, the local vendor Atlanta Mobile EV Charging, they are offering a completely different economic model here. They offer 3 specific charging tiers.
Right. They have a whole menu.
Yeah. First, there's the Quick Boost. That is $199. They plug you in for 30 minutes, giving you about 30 to 40 miles of range. Then you can step up to the standard charge for $329, which is a 60-minute charge yielding roughly 80 to 100 miles.
Got it.
And finally, the extended charge at $429 for 90 minutes, giving you up to 160 miles.
It's also worth noting there's a $50 after-hours fee if you call between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m.
Oh, right. Good catch. But see, it completely flips the economics of a roadside emergency. You know exactly what you're paying up front, and the problem is actively being solved while you wait, rather than just, delaying the solution.
It's a much better experience.
But let me push back on this pricing model for a second, because I'm looking at those tiers, and honestly, the $429 extended to charge feels kind of absurd for a stranded commuter.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, if I am stranded on the side of I-85 with 18-wheelers blowing past me, I do not want to sit on the shoulder for an hour and a half waiting for a full charge.
That's a fair point.
Wouldn't almost everyone just use the $199 Quick Boost? I just want the bare minimum juice to limp home or drive to the nearest supercharger. Why even offer these massive, expensive upper tiers?
Well, what's fascinating here is that the Quick Boost is absolutely their core business for everyday commuters.
Okay, so I was right about that.
Yeah, the entire consumer business model is deliberately designed around rapid roadside triage. They just want to get you out of physical danger and back into the flow of traffic as quickly as possible.
Right.
However, the sources show those higher tiers are critical because geography dictates the need.
Oh, like the rural areas you mentioned.
Exactly. If you are stuck way out in a rural area past Douglasville, 30 miles of range from a Quick Boost might not actually be enough to reach a safe, working charger.
Wow, okay.
You might actually need that 60-minute charge just to find civilization again. And furthermore, as we'll see in a minute, those higher tiers are actually the foundation for an entirely different type of customer.
Commercial fleets, right?
The commercial fleets.
Okay, triage versus a full cure. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder about the actual logistics of delivering this power.
It's a cool setup.
If they aren't bringing a massive diesel tow truck, what exactly is pulling up behind you on the highway to deliver this life-saving charge? Because the technical specifications in the source material for this hardware are pretty wild.
They are. So the backbone of this service is a specialized mobile charging unit called the eRoad Hero RH9K.
eRoad Hero RH9K. And the specs on this machine are incredibly specific. It provides 9 kilowatts of continuous electrical output and can hit 11 kilowatts of peak output.
Which is a solid amount of power.
Yeah, and it comes equipped with a 25-foot cord. It features a standard J1772 connector, plus it includes the Tesla adapter.
Right.
So they can essentially rescue practically anything on the road, from a Rivian truck to a standard Tesla Model 3. But the 25-foot cord is what really jumped out at me.
Yeah, it's a critical design feature. Just think about the physical reality of a breakdown. If your car dies on a narrow shoulder, you might end up parked at a really awkward angle or pulled right up against a concrete barrier.
True, you don't really get to choose where you stop.
Exactly.
Right.
And a traditional tow truck has to maneuver perfectly in front of or behind you to load the vehicle. But with a 25-foot cord, the rescue vehicle can simply park safely behind you, acting as a physical barricade against highway traffic.
Oh, that's super smart.
Right. And they can still easily drag the cord all the way to your charge port, regardless of where it is on the vehicle.
That makes total sense. And amazingly, the source notes that this EV Road Hero unit operates at only 64 decibels from 23 feet away.
Which is surprisingly quiet.
It explicitly points out that 64 decibels is actually quieter than a normal human conversation.
Wow.
Which, if you are already dealing with the deafening sensory overload of a highway shoulder, is vital. You really don't want a screaming industrial machine running right next to your window while you wait.
Exactly. It just reduces the overall stress of the situation.
But while I was reading through these equipment specs, I spotted a massive, glaring irony.
Oh, I think I know what you're going to say.
The documentation clearly states that this incredibly advanced EV Road Hero unit runs on a 6.1-gallon gas tank.
Yeah, there it is.
So let me get this straight. We are deploying fleets of trucks to rescue cutting-edge, environmentally friendly, zero-emission electric vehicles using a literal gas-powered combustion engine.
I mean, this raises an important question, right? The optics of it are certainly ironic,
Very.
but it comes down to a harsh reality about the current limits of portable power technology and honestly just physics. Right now, gasoline is still incredibly energy dense compared to batteries.
Okay.
It remains the most efficient portable fuel we have for emergency triage. Think about the weight.
The weight of the battery.
Yeah, if the rescue vehicle had to tow a massive, heavy electric battery pack, large enough to rapidly charge your car's battery,
Yeah.
the truck itself would have to be enormous.
Oh, I see.
The weight and inefficiency of moving a giant battery just to charge another battery would make the fuel costs and the whole business model nearly impossible.
So it's purely a weight-to-power ratio problem.
Yes, and with that 6.1-gallon gas tank, the EV Road Hero provides enough continuous energy for 5 to 10 complete rescue sessions before the operator even needs to think about driving to a gas station to refuel.
Oh, wow.
So it is an incredibly efficient bridge technology.
Okay, so we use a little bit of gas to save a whole lot of stranded EVs. That makes sense. But the source material is very clear that the true magic of this gas-powered unit isn't the fuel source, it's the quality of the electricity it outputs.
That's the real secret sauce.
The specs say the EV Road Hero produces power with a total harmonic distortion, or THD, of under 3%.
And that specification is the absolute linchpin of this entire operation.
Whoa, okay, hold on. Total harmonic distortion. You're going to have to translate that for those of us who aren't electrical engineers. What is dirty power?
Put simply, it means the machine delivers a pure sine wave. Electricity isn't just a flat flow of energy, it travels in a wave pattern.
Right.
If you go buy a cheap gas-powered generator from a hardware store like the kind you use on a construction site, it produces dirty power. The electrical wave it generates is jagged, erratic, and irregular.
And an electric vehicle doesn't like irregular waves.
Not at all. Because an EV isn't really just a car, it is effectively a $50,000 laptop on wheels.
That's a great analogy.
It is packed with incredibly sensitive electronics and a complex battery management system. You wouldn't plug your expensive MacBook into a sputtering backwoods construction generator.
Definitely not.
Right. So if you plug a modern EV into dirty power, the car's computer will detect the jagged wave, reject entirely, and physically refuse to open the charge port.
Oh, it just won't even accept it.
Exactly. Or worse, if it does let the power in, those power spikes could permanently fry the circuitry in the battery management system, which causes thousands of dollars in damage.
Wow, so the entire business model relies on tricking the car, basically. By keeping the total harmonic distortion under 3%, the EV Road Hero creates electricity so perfectly clean and stable that your car's sophisticated computer legitimately thinks it is safely plugged into a premium, high-end wall outlet back at your house.
Precisely. It brings grid-quality power directly to the side of the highway.
That is just brilliant engineering. But as much as rescuing a stranded commuter on I-85 makes for a highly dramatic story, the sources reveal that the actual systemic impact and, frankly, the massive financial goldmine of this industry lies in an entirely different sector.
Yeah, the consumer stuff is just the tip of the iceberg.
Because saving one guy on the highway at a time doesn't really seem like enough volume to build an empire, so where is the real money?
The real money and the true scale of this industry is in the B2B market, business-to-business commercial fleet charging.
Okay, fleets.
Atlanta is one of the largest logistics and transportation hubs in the country. You have massive delivery fleets for e-commerce, sprawling networks of rideshare drivers, corporate vehicle pools, and giant rental car fleets at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport.
Right, the airport's huge.
All of these businesses are desperately trying to transition to electric vehicles because the operational savings on fuel and daily maintenance are just absolutely undeniable.
But they hit a massive literal brick wall when they try to adopt them.
Yes. The bottleneck is the grid infrastructure. If you manage a warehouse and you buy 50 electric delivery vans, you can't just run an extension cord out the back door.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Building a level 3 fast charging depot for a commercial fleet is a major commercial construction project.
Right.
You have to hire civil engineers, negotiate with the city for permits, tear up your asphalt parking lot, and upgrade the massive electrical draw with the municipal grid, which often requires building brand new substations.
You are talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in upfront capital expenditure before a single van even gets charged.
Exactly.
Not to mention the timeline. The utility company might tell you it will take 2 years just to get the permits and grid upgrades approved.
And businesses can't wait 2 years.
No. And here's where it gets really interesting, because that is exactly where the mobile charging companies swoop in. The solution in the sources is remarkably simple.
It really is.
Instead of the business building a massive charging station, the mobile charging company simply shows up at the warehouse depot or the rental lot on a set daily or weekly schedule.
Just rolls right up.
Yeah, there is zero permanent infrastructure required by the business. Plus, the mobile chargers offer volume discounts for these recurring contracts.
It entirely bypasses the utility bottleneck.
It's incredible. Thinking about this, for these commercial fleets, skipping that grid construction is basically like a company deciding to bypass a multi-million-dollar corporate cafeteria renovation.
Oh, I like this.
By simply hiring a highly reliable food truck to show up in the parking lot every single day at noon.
Yes.
You get all the exact same food with none of the construction debt, none of the permits, and zero maintenance.
That analogy perfectly captures the economics. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this mobile fleet model fundamentally accelerates corporate EV adoption on a national scale.
Because it removes the friction.
Exactly. Right now, the single biggest hurdle for a logistics manager who wants to go electric isn't the upfront cost of the vehicles. It is the nightmare of commercial real estate and local grid limitations.
Right.
By completely removing the need to own land, dig trenches, and build transformers, mobile charging allows companies to electrify their fleets today rather than waiting 5 years for a municipal construction project to finish.
It's a total game changer for logistics, but it brings up a really big logistical question for the mobile charging companies themselves.
Which is,
Well, if this food truck model is so lucrative for fleets, and the roadside triage is so necessary for stranded drivers, how on earth does it scale across the entire country?
the scaling problem.
Right. How does one company expand to 50 cities without going instantly bankrupt, buying thousands of Eve Road Hero trucks and hiring thousands of local drivers?
Well, they don't.
They don't.
No, the sources outline that they are avoiding that massive capital drain by operating under a decentralized vendor network model.
Right. The documents detail this perfectly. You have the national parent organization, which is called eRescue, operating out of erescue.com.
Yeah.
They handle all the macro level stuff. They own the national brand identity. They develop the overarching dispatch software algorithms, and they run the national marketing campaign.
Basically the tech and the branding.
Exactly. But the actual boots on the ground doing the charging in Atlanta, that isn't eRescue. That is a legitimate, pre-existing local EV service company called Electric Vehicle Serviceability.
Right.
They are the ones actually running the localized Atlanta Mobile EVcharging.com website and answering the local dispatch number.
It is a highly symbiotic relationship. The national brand, eRescue, provides the technological backbone and the brand trust, while the local vendor provides the actual labor and, really importantly, the invaluable local expertise.
And according to the podcast transcript, this network is spreading fast.
Oh, incredibly fast.
They are already active in rescuing cars in Sacramento, Portland, Seattle-Tacoma, and Vancouver, Washington, and they are actively crowdsourcing community votes to choose their next markets, looking heavily at expanding into cities like Denver, Las Vegas, and Phoenix.
Right.
Furthermore, they are openly offering a franchise-like opportunity for local entrepreneurs in unserved cities to join the network.
Which is just an incredibly smart way to scale rapidly.
So what does this all mean? For someone looking to start a business, this is basically a business in a box. Think about starting an EV rescue company from scratch. You'd spend the first 2 years just trying to build local credibility, paying developers to build a clunky dispatch app, and trying to figure out which hardware won't accidentally fry a $50,000 Tesla.
It would be a nightmare.
But with this network model, a local operator licenses the EV Road Hero tech, plugs right into the EV Rescue dispatch network, and launches on day one with the infrastructure already built.
And from the national brand's perspective, relying on local operators is really the only way this actually works.
Why is that?
Because local knowledge is absolutely non-negotiable when you were dealing with emergency roadside logistics.
Right.
A corporate executive sitting in an office building hundreds of miles away simply cannot understand the unique, granular traffic patterns of a 45-mile sprawling metro area like Atlanta.
They just don't know the roads.
Exactly.
Right.
A dispatch algorithm doesn't inherently know that I-285 eastbound is a literal parking lot at 4 p.m. on a Friday, or how to navigate the back roads of Sandy Springs to get around a wreck.
But a local vendor does.
Yes. A local vendor like Electric Vehicle Serviceability does. They know exactly where to position their trucks during rush hour to keep their response times down.
It's the perfect marriage of national software scale and local street smarts.
It really is.
Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground today. Let's kind of pull all these threads together.
Sounds good.
We've explored exactly how mobile EV charging is rapidly making the incredibly stressful, mechanically dangerous, and financially painful tow truck experience totally obsolete.
Thankfully.
We've unpacked the surprisingly quiet, pure sine wave, gas-powered tech that safely tricks these vehicles into charging. We looked at the massive B2B loophole that allows commercial fleets to bypass years of grid infrastructure construction.
The food truck model.
Exactly. And finally, we saw how a localized vendor network is driving rapid national expansion without the traditional corporate bloat.
It really is a comprehensive, ground-up reimagining of how we support automotive infrastructure.
And that is exactly why this matters to you, the listener. Because whether you are an everyday commuter who is quietly dreading that low battery warning, or you're a logistics manager trying to figure out how to cut your commercial warehouse costs, or maybe you're an entrepreneur looking for the next big technological wave to ride, this decentralized mobile approach is actively redefining our automotive reality right now, today.
They are definitely solving the exact problem we have right this second. But when you zoom out and look at where this is all heading, it does raise a fascinating question about the future.
Right, because the technology is moving so incredibly fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We know that mobile gas-powered charging successfully bridges the infrastructure gap today.
Right.
But what happens to this entire booming industry in 15 or 20 years?
That's a good question.
Imagine a near future where EV battery chemistry evolves and ranges routinely double to 500 or 600 miles. Or imagine a world where technologies like wireless inductive charging get built directly into the asphalt of our major highways, constantly charging your car's battery as you drive over it.
Which is wild to even think about.
It is. But if that future actually arrives, and the asphalt itself is the grid, will these highly efficient mobile rescue units just become quaint relics of the early, messy EV transition? Or will they pivot and evolve, perhaps becoming the foundation for a completely different kind of localized, mobile energy grid that powers our homes during blackouts?
That is the multi-million-dollar question right there. Innovation simply never stops. But until the highway asphalt itself starts charging our cars, we are living in the reality of today.
Very true.
So the next time you find yourself driving down I-285, 18-wheelers flying by, and you glance down to see your phone battery at 12% and your EV range dropping dangerously close to zero, just remember, you don't need to panic.
Nope.
And you definitely don't need to call a flatbed tow truck. The charging station is coming directly to you.